but it causes repeated trauma to the brain. And over years and years of this happening, people can get what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE syndrome. And it's almost like a disease, because with repeated trauma to the brain, and that can lead to memory problems, mood swings, even trouble with movements, and eventually people can develop dementia, like Alzheimer's disease. And Jake Paul got knocked out by Anthony Joshua this past Friday night. So I want to break this down from a medical perspective. I'm a neurosurgeon with over 25 years of experience. And so, what happens is when you get hit in the head with that kind of force, like in boxing, our brain actually moves inside our skull, and it can bump into the skull, which is a firm structure, and cause bruising of the brain.
In the morning, I can't sleep. My jaw's busted. They wired it up a couple hours ago, and it hurts every time I move my mouth. I lost tonight. I gave everything, and I still lost. Feels like I let everyone down. I'm not unbreakable.
Jake Paul gets his jaw broken. Not only that, but he gets his lower jaw broken from the right and the left side, so both sides. And not only this, following that, he went through an emergency surgery procedure to get that sorted out, and titanium plates were inserted to help stabilize the case. This will take long to fully heal.
This is the issue. Nobody desires confrontation. The brain remembers even when the ego doesn't, once you've been assaulted like that. Furthermore, the medical discourse regarding CTE and long-term harm is not superfluous, because recurrent trauma builds up. It's a warning label. Jake added a hefty
Time.
He was going like tie him down and catch him with a good shot and shit like that.
So wait, do you think, curious, because it's a business aspect, but again, I'm still a nigga and I'm still a khaki fan, so I'm being real, so hold on.
6 to 8.
plates, dental reconstruction, weight fluctuations, response hesitation, 6 to 8 months, possibly a year. And it's only a physical checklist because once he acknowledged that heavyweight was a mistake, something changed in his mind. And since it sounded like doubt learning to speak, that one syllable hit harder than any fist.
Full of times, pushed down on the back of his neck, pushed down on the back of his head, got him to the ground. There was a few times where Jake looked like he was going for a takedown. Again, that was Jake trying to engage in the clinch, and AJ smartly moved back. In one instance, I think it was the 5th round, Jake engaged for a clinch, AJ moved back and started punching.
Anthony Joshua's display of respect made things worse rather than better, since the executioner's respect validates the execution. Furthermore, it is not praise when AJ claims that the shot would have downed real heavyweights. That's the background. Furthermore, when context reveals how narrow the margin was all along, it is harsh.
To Anthony Joshua sleeping Jake and breaking his jaw in 2 different places, along with breaking his teeth. Javante joined the fun with the rest of the boxing community by throwing a meme on Jake Paul. That was his reaction, as you guys see above.
Additionally, keep in mind that promoters are recalculating behind the scenes, so don't assume that recovery updates and inspirational messages will end this. Commissions are keeping a careful eye on things, and opponents are circling. Not everyone involved wants the rematch narrative to exist at all, according to whispered whispers I'm hearing.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome, as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process Jake would be.
Most likely, you're thinking that this is the retribution story, the Phoenix thing, or the comeback arc. But after viewing that before and after image that is ingrained in your mind, ask yourself honestly, do you think hesitation will appear just before the next exchange, or do you think the confidence will land the same? Because careers go to die on Jake's back in that split second.
Down on Jake's back. So all of those things kind of deteriorated or emptied Jake's gas tank a lot earlier than I think he expected it to. But overall, I thought he deployed his game plan well for the first 5 rounds and actually had some success. He even moved AJ back a few times, 1 by just jabbing in the air, and 2, when he caught him, he moved AJ.
Something else is emerging. Too many reactions don't match, so I can sense it. Too many individuals are being cautious when they speak, and someone is defending something. This may have gotten out of control due to a discussion, a condition, or a decision taken weeks ago. When that happens, the entire narrative turns around once more.
Again. Yeah, he just represents everything that's wrong with boxing, unprofessionalism, and he's getting what he's reaping what he sows. But I hate working with people like that. He stands everyone up, film crews, everything. Doesn't do any promotion.
Yes, this is still ongoing, not even close. Jake Paul didn't simply lose a battle. He started a discussion that the sport is unable to end. And as others celebrate in public and he recovers in private, time is running out for the next shock, leak, or revelation. You'll wish you hadn't taken a single glance away when it strikes.
Even a second.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process Jake would be.
He wasn't simply rendered unconscious. He was removed, jaw dropped, future redirected. The most terrifying aspect is that this may be the Friday night that Jake Paul's entire boxing identity quietly vanished. Don't blink though, because I'm going to go all the way back to the moment before the catastrophe, when everyone still believed that confidence could defy power and physics and somehow withstand what was about to happen, which it couldn't. Not even close. Indeed, this cannot be true. However, it is.
AJ back. AJ came right back in and swung, but he did move him back.
When this fight was first announced, you said to several media members that initially you weren't down for this fight. You thought it was just a little bit too much too soon, to paraphrase. Did he do better? Did Jake do better than you thought? Result aside, obviously you wanted him to win. You thought, I think by the end, that he was going to win, but did he actually do better than you thought initially?
This wasn't a fight ending. Rather, it was a revelation because Jake wasn't exhausted or unlucky when he struck the canvas and remained there. To last, the sport was shouting the truth back to him. And this is what no one wants to say out just yet, but they will in the near future. Long before the last blow, something went horribly wrong. Something hidden, something structural. We haven't reached the point where someone in this story is lying, I assure you.
And doesn't do any posts, but it is what it is. I'm actually glad this all happened this way so that he doesn't get, the biggest paycheck of his life and just continues to be a piece of shit.
When the tone shifted, you sensed it, correct? Even the commentators hesitated during that brief moment when the arena became silent because it was the sound of an illusion collapsing in real time. And I can assure you that Anthony Joshua wasn't peaking at this time. This was Jake entering a realm of violence for which he was unprepared. You're already behind if you believe that this will result in a shattered jaw. Toughness isn't what saved him, despite the fact that everyone talks about it like it's armor. Simply said, toughness kept him upright long enough to withstand harm that may ruin careers. Because the line between influencer boxing from real heavyweight consequences was what broke, not just bone. Additionally, doctors are currently discussing topics in whispers that they are not yet prepared to discuss on camera.
Yeah, there's a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna beat Jaden Love ass. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing. He know.
The x-rays were visible to you. The hospital post was visible to you. However, you were blind to the panic that was going on behind the scenes, the speed at which the surgery was performed, and how this abruptly changed from appearing to be a fight injury to a trauma case. This is the bit that turns my stomach. The last right hand did not simply land. It altered timing, leverage, and possibly the way commissioners view these contests in the future. People chuckled, Tank chuckled, memes took off. This is when it becomes uncomfortable, so pay close attention to what I have to say. That chuckle is more than simply cruelty. It's comfort, relief that the sport's thoughts were finally expressed by someone else. Additionally, there is animosity here that goes far beyond jokes, tweets, and what anyone has yet to acknowledge.
Right, listen, respect to Jake. You know, he was a tough guy in there. Obviously, moved a lot and made it difficult for AJ. And AJ's been out of the ring for a while. He's a bit rusty. It took him time to just get hold of him, but I was impressed with Jake. And listen, as I said to the geezer, at the end of the day, he took shots that a lot of people would have got knocked out, clean out by, especially at the end. You know. So
Was it frustrating for you to watch?
No, I mean maybe like obviously when someone's moving like that, like.
When the Tank battle broke down, something broke because Jake doubled down rather of recalibrating. He also called individuals out, burned bridges, and made fun at legacies. And because some of these guys don't forget, and they surely don't forgive, that particular decision will resurface in unexpected ways. Indeed, I am hinting at something unpleasant to come.
Respect to Jake Paul that we took a few rounds to get going because Jake was moving a lot and holding a lot, and you know it was difficult to nail him clean. I think, but eventually AJ took his time, cut him off, and smashing him about. And listen, respect to Jake Paul because that last shot, I know he shattered his jaw, but it would have knocked most heavyweights out. So I've got to give him credit.
I was going to say, in the end, are you pleased with that? Because obviously everyone was saying,
We'll argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, my brother.
And when they're rugby tackling you, but he had to do what he had to do to survive. And he did that. So, you know, it's very difficult to go in like, you know, out the ring for 14 months and just be razor sharp with a guy running. And so, yeah, probably 2 or 3 rounds more than expected. But fair play to Jake Paul. He was a lot tougher than I thought, and he took a lot more shots than I thought he could.
What did AJ tell you inside the ring about the fight?
Wicked fight. Respect to Jake Paul for taking the fight. Took a heavy shot, but you know what? What a fantastic fight he put on. But big well done to AJ. We knew from day one AJ was going to do it, but the better fighter was going to win.
People said that Jake Paul was running. Do you feel like he ran or do you like?
I mean, against someone like AJ, AJ's a big guy, strong guy, and he can hurt you. So yeah, 100%. Like he's gonna want to avoid his power, but you know what? He got caught in the corner and bang you out.
or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that.
We'll argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, my brother.
Until then, the memes continued to circulate, the arguments continued to rage, and the sight of Jake Paul grinning prior to the altercation and lying shattered following it will never go away. The whole story is conveyed in a single frame by the before and after.
Over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And
Now, everyone is acting as though this was closer than it actually was, while hiding behind moral triumphs and statements about respect. Respect, however, doesn't put a jaw together, and it doesn't change the fact that Anthony Joshua solved him in a cool, collected manner, much like a man disassembling a jigsaw he had already seen the picture of. You're crazy if you believe that other boxers didn't take notes.